Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I rise today to address the considerable concerns of residents in Sippy Downs. Thousands of Sunshine Coast families and retirees call the lakes and leafy surrounds of Sippy Downs home. Sippy Downs is also home to the University of the Sunshine Coast, which has rapidly grown since opening in 1996. Prior to COVID, more than 14,000 students attended the Sippy Downs campus. This week, many of those students headed back to campus, and the resultant parking chaos has placed considerable strain on the entire Sippy Downs community. The parking problem that has manifested itself in recent weeks is complex. It's a problem that is the legacy of a failure to plan and a failure to build the infrastructure needed to deal with considerable population growth our area is experiencing. Sippy Downs is now suffering from a lack of foresight in years past. Despite being home to 14,000 students, the University of the Sunshine Coast has no on-campus accommodation for students. We have residential streets that are too narrow, townhouses with inadequate parking for residents, inadequate access roads and a public school that was built on a cul-de-sac. Sippy Downs has no fire station and the police station is rarely open when locals need it most. The result is a community which is suffering from increasing levels of crime and persistent traffic congestion. Streets are so congested with parked cars that residents are unable to access their own homes and buses are being forced to drive onto the wrong side of traffic calming devices just so they can get through. I've received reports that on one street, space was so limited this week that a TransLink bus smashed the side of the mirrors of many cars just pushing through. I've spoken to local councillor Christian Dixon, about the issue this week, and I note his proactive response to mitigate the effect on the community. While parking enforcement is a Sunshine Coast Council responsibility, I believe that the university needs to help resolve the impact of students parking on residential streets. Adequate parking exists on campus at Sippy Downs, and I will be writing to the university to ask they consider removing deterrents to students parking on campus so they don't feel the need to park on residential streets surrounding the Sippy Downs campus. Compounding the problem, I also understand that some private student accommodation providers have recently introduced a requirement for residents to pay an additional fee, Mr Deputy Speaker, just so they can park on site. I'll be seeking clarification on this matter from the respective student accommodation providers and, if correct, I'll be seeking a rationale as to how they intend to ensure that Sippy Downs residents are not adversely affected by the resultant on-street parking. The Sippy Downs community is a connected and welcoming one, but locals have a right to be aggrieved about the impact that student parking on streets and congestion is having on their way of life. Mr Deputy Speaker, I will continue to work proactively with Councillor Christian Dixon and the community to resolve these issues.